Hey everyone, Ash here, and I'm at New York City where I have a special appointment with the NYC Ghostbusters. As you know, I'm a Ghostbuster myself in London, and I'm going to meet my fellow comrades in New York City and go around, have a look at some sites, filming locations, and just have a Ghostbusting kind of day. But it's time for me to get ready. You can see I've got some smart attire, but that is what I need to be wearing today. All right, looks like I'm ready. Let's get to it. All right, I'm here now. My good friend Martin from the New York Ghostbusters.
What's up?
And we're gonna go around New York City to some notable Ghostbuster film locations. Have a look around. We're in our suits, of course, and just have a great time. Right now, we're at one of the locations, which is the New York
Public Library on Fifth Avenue.
There we go. There we go. And as you can see, you've got right there, Patience and Fortitude.
Now everybody knows their names.
Now everybody knows their names.
Frozen Empire.
Yeah, exactly right. That's basically with Winston going, "Why did you have to shoot Fortitude in the face?"
Though, he's talking about the wrong line.
Oh.
This is Patience.
And that was the one that was, okay.
Patience is in fact the one that gets possessed and
yes, of course.
Proton blasted.
That's right.
I don't know if they just couldn't resist the alliteration of Fortitude
in the face. Yeah.
Or if it was a script inconsistency or what, but that's a little piece of trivia for all you nitpickers.
There we go.
Keep in mind.
We're also going to be joined by another member of the New York Ghostbusters, and it's great. The more the merrier, and yeah, it's quite a nice day today. For now.
It's gonna be a cruel summer.
Oh wow, okay. Well, in London we don't have that luxury of.
Well, we'll drag you back to the hotel if we have to.
Yeah. So let's see how it goes. But we've got flight seats on. That's pretty weather resistant to a certain degree.
Oh, the Nomex though.
I know. It does. So let's see how it goes for now.
The other fun incidental connection I like to think about between the Library Lions and Ghostbusters stuff, aside from, of course, their prominent presence in the movie as scenery, is that the names Patience and Fortitude were bestowed on them by our famous Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia, whose ghost, of course,
yes,
we're told appeared to Mayor Lenny.
That is, and do you think that was intentional? Do you think they made that connection there, or is it just?
No, I doubt it, because the fact they're named Patience and Fortitude is insignificant in the older movies.
Right.
I think LaGuardia is just like the biggest recent-ish New York City mayor to drop as a ghost to make that gag work. But coincidentally, it was just another little connection.
In Frozen Empire, a lot of it was filmed in London, as well as New York. Was the public library scenes actually filmed in New York?
To my knowledge, no, it was not.
Right.
So I, to the best of my ability, was stalking the second unit production here in New York and spending as much time as I could on set. And almost, if not entirely, the work of the second unit was action and stunt shots with the Ecto.
Right. Okay.
My understanding is that the scene in front of the library was shot on a stage.
On a stage?
One of the stages they built. So I've seen they have a stage of essentially this sidewalk, these steps, the lions, and a little bit, I think, up to the steps going up to the building itself, and then a great green screen.
All right. Yeah.
And much like at the Firehouse, the second unit was probably here taking plates, photography of the surroundings to composite into that set.
There we go. That makes sense.
But the actual action with the principal actors was not shot here.
They did do the film. They did do the clothing. No, sorry, clothing. The car scenes. Is that right?
Yeah,
well, the little
the car scenes,
around the corner.
The car scenes are a very delicate combination of on-location shots here in the streets of New York, with close-up shots in another car on a hydraulic rig with the principal actors in it, in a blue screen or green screen stage.
Interesting.
So they, whenever you're seeing an exterior shot of the car, or a wider shot, and it's in the streets, when Phoebe's hanging out in the car seat, blasting the sewer dragon, that was shot here. And I have lovely, footage of those takes.
Oh wow.
But all of the shots inside the car where you can see the principal actors' faces up close, those were shot in the UK. In a different car, being bounced around on a rig. And they did, a very, very good job, obviously, compositing those shots together so it flows seamlessly.
And when our friend joins us, we're also going to go and have a look inside, right? Is that where
I'm not sure if we will or we won't.
No?
So part of the library interior was shot here in the Rose reading room. So the scene where Ray and Venkman walk into the library and drop a book on the table that Egon is listening to, that is a room in here. But I think they have a set tour schedule.
Okay.
And sometimes I understand they're not the most excited about people in, I won't say costume, but people in certain uniforms.
Yeah. But the back off, I'm a scientist scene,
that's in the Rose reading room. Yeah. So that is actually here. The stacks of the library.
That is West Coast, right?
Yeah, that's in LA.
Yeah. All right. So we are joined by another great friend of ours, part of New York Ghostbusters. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jen. How are you? I'm
Good.
the small Ghostbuster.
yes. And I've just been informed off camera that you have, congratulations by the way, been awarded and have passed the tour test of New York Ghostbusters. So give me a bit of information on what is that and how do you do it?
You can do sightseeing walking tours.
Okay.
So licensed by the city.
So if anybody wanted to come to me or one of my other colleagues who are also like Brian or Josh, who are sightseeing tour guides as well, we can give you a tour of the different Ghostbusters filming locations that are around the city.
Oh wow!
Which film location tours, one of the services we at the New York City Ghostbusters are specially positioned to offer, given where we're situated. So it's one of our favorite things to do: take people around town to the places where it was done.
That's amazing. That is fantastic. Great. All right. It looks like we've pretty covered this place.
One more extra location.
Oh, okay.
At this location.
Right.
Which is across the street. It's under scaffolding right now, but if you see those sort of gold brass doors,
yes,
that is the bank, the fictitious Manhattan
City Bank.
Oh yes,
that Ray, Egon, and Venkman walk out of after Ray mortgages the farm to finance the business.
Oh wow!
So presumably they did that shot the same day they were here for the opening sequence back in '83.
That is amazing. Fantastic.
Tiny bonus.
They all have this kind of scaffolded it over, and that blue background is what you see here to try and mask the fact that they were in the same location.
Right. Here we go.
Anyway, we're going to stroll the subway and make our way to the next section of the tour, which is Columbus Circle and Central Park West.
Let's go. All right, we are now at
Columbus Circle.
Columbus Circle.
Which is sort of a nexus of different parts of the original Ghostbusters, certainly. First and foremost, this intersection here between these two buildings is where the 112.5-foot tall Marshmallow Man appears.
Oh, wow.
7th Avenue.
Walking on up at the climax of the movie.
Wow.
But and of course continues up Central Park.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
follow in his giant sugary footsteps shortly. but this location actually appears earlier in the film, when, well, a little earlier in the second act, when Louis Tully is possessed by Vince Clortho and is tearing around the city, being deranged. This is where he exactly. This is where he runs out of the park. He's bumping into things. There's somebody playing a steel drum. Right over there, you can see the horse carriages. I think at least one of them is. Along the street.
Yeah, way over there.
That's where the horse carriages still
Central Park South.
pick people up, and he asks the horse, "Are you the gatekeeper?"
Can we take a closer look?
Yeah,
at
of
those?
course.
Let's go.
He runs by here. Runs up to 59th Street, or as this section is known, Central Park South.
Yes.
And I guess we don't have any horses here right now. All right, well, no horses on scene at the moment.
No.
We'd have to go.
You have to go down.
that way to see.
Yeah.
But runs up the carriage.
Oh yeah, here we go. The description for that:
Oh, main monument.
the pylon fountain embellished with colossal group 9 figures, heroic scale, and frieze, 3 plaques, 2 large, 1 small, 4 gatehouses, each with a door and 3 low reliefs. Well, it was cast September 1st, 1912. It was dedicated May 30th, 1913.
Quite a mouthful.
One of the things we like to point out about Ghostbusters 1 is that it's very grounded in the geographical reality of Manhattan. So Stay Puft manifests somewhere down here a few blocks and then appears between these two buildings, and then walks up Central Park to Dana Barrett's apartment building, and that space really exists the way it
happens,
presented in the movie. So we're going to follow that path.
Okay.
Walk from Columbus Circle a little way up the very picturesque Central Park West to Spook Central.
We could have picked a perfect day to go busting on this hot weather. Weather's a good thing or a bad thing, but
it's a good thing that we're not cold. It's a bad thing that we're gonna have to take our suits to dry cleaners. I was playing Cruel Summer when I suited up this morning, and it's just
oh my god, yeah.
Toss this into the washing machine, toss it out the window for 20 minutes.
Nobody steps on a church in my town.
Exactly.
All right. That is great. Let's go towards it.
So the building itself, which in reality is 55 Central Park West, but in the movie was given the fictitious number 550 for reasons I have never learned.
Yeah, I don't because if it's a public place, easily it can be looked up. Why did they think it needed to be protected somehow or something?
I honestly don't know, but who knows?
Yeah.
It's the 80s. It's obviously a prime example of Art Deco, very nice, here in New York.
Yes.
And aside from the obvious details with the moldings and arches and those sorts of decorative elements, it's a really nice example of something I didn't know was a part of Deco architecture until I learned about this building, which is the color of the brick shifts from sort of a darker reddish brick at the bottom up to this lighter sort of golden peachy brick, the higher you get. And when you're standing in front of it, especially with nice sun on it like this, you'll see it gives it this sort of radiation.
And that was intentional?
Yeah, it's sort of like a, I don't know if it was thought of as kind of a sunrise vibe, or if it was just, you know, a kind of blending of color that they wanted to incorporate into the architectural style, but very clear example in this case. And beautifully juxtaposed with the little church and its Gothic touches.
An apartment, a co-op in that is going for $995,000.
That's it? That's not right. Less than $1 million? What? Oh, but
To buy?
It's a one bedroom.
Yeah.
One bed?
This is a co-op
million?
building.
Yeah.
Co-op
One bedroom.
building. So it's, and co-ops are insane, and we don't have time to do a whole
Yeah,
documentary on how they work. You kind of own your apartment.
Right.
It's the gist. So it's not a rental. You have to buy it.
Yeah.
I guess even for a one bedroom, though, I'm surprised it's under $1 million.
Its designer was Schwartz and Gross in 1930.
The building, that is.
It's facade design featuring intricate stone patterns which rise from 1 to 3 stories high. The design is carried out again on the building's steep decorative tower.
Yep.
The building is erected as 19 stories with 118 units ranging from 3.5 to 9 rooms. The apartments feature wonderful details throughout: high beam ceilings, sunken living rooms, grand scale formal dining rooms, formal entry foyers, herringbone floors, casement windows. The building amenities include a 24-hour doorman, children's playroom, private storage, bike room, and it's pet friendly.
Lovely building.
Now it's pet friendly. So I think they learned from
Who brought the
the
dog?
Terror Dog.
Still can't bring a cougar to a party.
No. Still can't bring the cougar, but
Now, of course, we'll notice that the building is several stories shorter than it appeared in Ghostbusters.
That's right, yeah.
Naturally, it's because
it's matte
the
painted.
top stories were blown off of it. No, not really. They matte painted the extra sort of temple on top of the building, and built a full-scale set of that rooftop in LA, which at the time was the largest soundstage that had ever been constructed. A truly
they had to divert from every
they
pretty
had
much
to
every
pull.
studio
They
around.
had to steal lighting and pull generators and power from everywhere around them to light this huge set. It was a real marvelous undertaking at the time. It had a 360-degree panoramic backdrop of the city skyline with little holes poked to simulate the city lights twinkling through that ethereal murk that descended over the city during the cross rip. Just astounding set they built for the rooftop scene. It was also built as a scale model to be exploded for that part of the climax, of course.
Yeah.
And then I remember as a kid watching the scene where the Ghostbusters arrive and are going to go into the building, and then the ground quakes and the street breaks apart, and I would wonder, how did they get the street to earthquake and crack like that? In the middle of the real city? And the answer is, of course, that they didn't. But
It's a soundstage over in LA.
well, it was a combination of a soundstage.
Oh, it was?
And on location, much like the later movies. So they built a stage with the first, story or two of this facade and the sidewalk and the street. And under that street, they constructed hydraulics to break apart the fake asphalt. So when we see the street crack and actually move, the cop car hole and crevice,
Go into the crevice above.
That's in LA on an actuated stage.
Right.
And then they built a static copy of the broken street and transported it here, overlaid it on the actual street, along with a partial dummy car stuck in the ground and everything. in order to shoot the wider shots on location after
So
the street
it was for
breaks.
wider shots? Because I was about to ask, why, if they did all that trouble on the West Coast, couldn't they just do all of it just there? But it was...
Yeah, I mean, I have to think that these days they would have tried to just keep it on the soundstage.
Yeah.
But back then, they did a lot more location shooting for the original
And like
movie.
they said in Cleaning Up the Town, Harold goes into saying they literally closed off here, which they no longer do.
No.
They closed off Central Park West and
Yeah.
Columbus Circle. So everything downtown from here to even the City Hall
Oh, they
was
snarled the whole city
completely.
in October of
Hey.
'83 when they did the on location in front of this building. They blocked.
That's impossible to get away with now,
Yeah,
right?
now you can't get away with
I
it.
mean, movies close streets all the time here,
Yeah.
but
But
I
the
think
budget to do
Not
that...
like what they did
scale,
then,
the
or-
scale of that street closure and the disruption it caused, I don't know if they could do
Right.
something like that anymore.
Yeah.
So, apocryphally, some say that this yellow mark, which probably just has to do with where the subway
This.
access panel is, but some people say this is the spot Rick Moranis jumped over the wall
Oh, it is?
when he was running into the park. I don't know how.
I mean, that's pretty...
And yeah, it's,
Yeah,
It's pretty steep.
I mean, they could have put a pad down.
Yeah,
Most likely.
It's possible.
yeah.
I have yet to review the footage. That's
Okay.
Frame by
Yeah.
frame by frame to pick out exactly where it hops across. We could probably tell pretty clearly. But there's the front door. Here's the wall. He jumps across that.
Yeah.
He's somewhere around here.
So, yeah.
Tavern on the Green. So we're gonna
Yeah.
make our way around the back, which unfortunately doesn't really look like it did, but it's still the spot.
People still eating there?
Oh yeah.
Huh?
It closed for a few years.
Yeah.
I think the business changed hands
Yeah.
once or twice. Reopened
Yeah, 'cause
kind of a while ago.
Oh, the food is expensive there?
It's a fancy place.
a little bit expensive.
Well, yeah, I mean, even in the
which
movie
is-
it gives that impression, right?
Part of the point of
but
that
that's part of it. It's like,
scene,
yeah,
all the fancy
yeah.
people.
Like, what the hell is going on with that crazy?
Whatever. Why did they stop? Why did they? Because it's New York. They normally don't care.
Yeah.
It's a very intensely New York scene.
And there's the horses.
Yeah. Here's the menu for the place.
Yeah, no.
Here we are at the back of Tavern on the Green. We have this nice outdoor seating area now, and you can see there's kind of a glass box on the back of the building, which is an extension they built since the movie was filmed. So the inner glass of that box was where the windows were that
Ah,
Rick
right,
Moranis
okay,
was
yeah.
pressed up against. And so we can't really get any closer to that actual spot unless we, got some outdoor seating for lunch or something. But that's the place.
That is great. So yeah, the extension is
Now encloses.
now encloses.
Where,
Right.
Louis Tully was possessed. Don't recommend having lunch in their very high PKE gallons still.
Of course. Should have surveyed the area before we actually even. I mean,
We're-
we're kind of in Spook Central.
Yeah, we're at about as safe a distance as you can be. All right, our last Upper West Side stop, Lincoln Center, famous courtyard where Venkman harasses Dana Barrett as she emerges from her rehearsal.
Yeah.
And, it's changed a fair bit since '83, but
Wait a minute.
Wow.
still quite recognizable.
The fountain is definitely not the same.
Sometimes they get a little pissy with us if we're out here in uniform. So
They do?
Yeah.
They have been known to.
What's the deal?
You know, if you want to do a silly Venkman dance, you do
Now's
it
the
quick
time.
before they shoo us away.
Okay.
There it is. Yes.
All right, so we're here, and we were just walking along, getting a hot dog and whatnot in New York. But this is also a scene from Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2 to be precise, right?
That's right. So we just stopped for our lunch break on the steps on the side here of this church on Columbus Avenue, just a little ways downtown from Lincoln Center. And this spot right up here is featured very briefly in one of the montages in Ghostbusters 2 where Ray is collecting some mood slime.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, one of many, many little places throughout the city that pop up in those montages. This one, we just happen to know where it is, and we happen to find ourselves nearby in the course of the regular tour.
There you go. Pretty cool.
We're here at the home office.
The home office. Oh man. Here we are. That is amazing.
You might get lucky.
And you picked a really good time to come here because the sign's still in the right place. They
Yeah,
usually,
it sounds like they're keeping that.
I hope so, but in the past they weren't allowed to keep it hanging there, so it was flat up against the window or even off to the side. But since the premiere, they've had it hanging properly. And obviously,
Of course.
We're going to work.
shit, I left the traps on the subway again. This is Hook and Ladder 8, an active firehouse. Yeah, I mean, it speaks for itself.
Of course.
The interesting historical detail about this is that unlike what we were shown in the opening scene of Frozen Empire, this was constructed in 1904, but in about 10 years later, the city needed to expand Varick Street here. And originally, this building was actually a double bay firehouse. So you imagine this structure, but two of them combined.
Right.
And when they expanded Varick Street, rather than simply like demolish the one on the right-hand side, they demolished the left-hand side of the building and then lifted the right-hand corner building and moved it from what is now Varick Street to its present location.
Wow.
And Hook and Ladder 8 used to be up at 153rd Street on Franklin.
Huh?
Yeah,
Peculiar.
they used to be way the
You mean
heck
in
uptown
like
before
the,
they moved it
the
over down here.
1800s then? Originally.
18, I think whatever it was, 1876 or something like that.
All right. Pre-Ghostbusting days, obviously.
yeah. Just a bit.
Pre-Ghostbusting days.
Do you know what? I'm getting a kick out of the fact that people are driving past the Ghostbusters and they're seeing Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Like, I like when things are quintessentially what it is. Do you know what I mean?
Just wait until June 8th because this place is going to be
Crazy,
awesome.
It's gonna be a scene.
Yeah. I bet.
You're gonna have not only ours, you're gonna have the Ecto engine.
Our car, the 59 from Jersey.
From Jersey.
There's a possibility that Greg, our friend, the Ecto Tech, will have completed the 1A he's working on.
Really? So
So we might have, for I think the first time, an Ecto 1A here on Ghostbusters Days.
That's
Well,
amazing.
can't promise that.
So what time in the morning?
You guys look fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much. Hey!
What job you want, right?
Casey, how's it going, man? That is amazing.
Can I take a selfie with you guys?
Yeah, of course you can. Take care. Damn, that's Casey just... I don't know what's happening, but throughout this tour,
hey, that's a good
I've been
thing,
seeing
man.
celebrities and it's
Hell
just
yeah.
crazy. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, honey?
Yeah. This is, it's real. We're here.
Thank you.
a lot. Take
You
care.
too, honey.
Oh my goodness, this is crazy.
If they open the doors, we might get to see.
Yeah, how regular do they do that though? Like,
I mean, whenever
it could be anytime when they.
Sometimes they just leave it open.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just when they're coming or going.
Okay.
They've got a wall in here with all kinds of franchise patches from all over the world.
Yeah.
And they also have the original sign from Ghostbusters 2 somehow ended up here and lives
Really?
inside. This one was donated by the Buffalo Ghostbusters, essentially one of the Ghostbusters Day fundraisers.
This one right here?
Was to
Yeah. Because
to
the
purchase
original
that
sign had something happen to it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Well, because I was
Where
reading
that
up, I was reading up on it yesterday, and they originally had a sign, and something happened to it. So well, let's see if we can get it fixed. And then they rose up enough money that they were like, just buy you a new one.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're ending our tour, of course, at Hook and Ladder 8, the Firehouse, and we were just talking about how in Frozen Empire this location kind of exists in two places, in that most of the scenes at the Firehouse were filmed on this amazing soundstage in the UK, and that stage included this street and a false facade for the building across the street and most of this intersection of Varick and North Moor. But the scenes shot on that stage were combined with a little bit shot on location for the final shot in the movie where the car pulls out of the firehouse and makes this turn and then drives down North Moor. Of course, the close shot beginning that scene with the crowd of people where we see the principal actors, that's the car rolling out of the door on the soundstage. But once the car makes the turn and crosses the intersection and we have the wider shot of Ecto driving down North Moor, that shot was taken here on location by the second unit. And so there's some very clever transition that happens in that close-up of the side of the Ecto, as it turns out, where it seamlessly switches from the shot on the stage in the UK to the shot here on location.
And knowledge has it that you was present.
Yeah, like I say, I was stalking the set. I was here on that day when the second unit was shooting the Ecto driving around, and I haven't had a chance to scrutinize that final shot frame by frame yet, but
yeah.
I was standing, across the way on North Moor, on one of these little decks outside these buildings when they did those takes. So I don't know if I'm actually visible even as a little smudge or something in that shot, but knowing like I was in there.
Yeah.
I'm somewhere in the frame even if I'm actually invisible.
Once it's available, you're gonna have to get it on like 4K.
It's on digital now.
It's on digital now. Okay,
find
here we
the
go.
highest resolution I can and look at every single frame. See if I can pick myself out. Probably not. But it was cool to be here and see it happen. I mean, I know a lot of people were waiting for 30 years for the Ghostbusters to be back in New York, and it's hard to describe how cool it was to be here in Manhattan with the Ecto, just on the street. Between shots when they were at lunch, just the car parked on the street, like in real life. It's
crazy.
Movie magic is more than the tricks and technology used to put a shot together. It's the storytelling itself and getting to see that and touch it a little bit was really special.
All right, everyone. So there it is. There goes our tour. There we conclude at Ghostbusters headquarters, of course, Hook and Ladder 8. Thank Martin and Jen and the New York Ghostbusters for this tour that I did. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.